Hershel Walker, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
So we are getting down to the home stretch of this race. What do these final days and weeks look like for you? And do you think you can avoid a runoff?
Well, these days are going to be hectic. They're going to be busy. But to win this seat, I don't mind getting busy. I want the people to know that I represent them. So these days are me visiting voters and asking voters to get out and vote. You know, have your voices heard, have your vote counted, because that's important. That when it's over, it's settled. And I said, we're not going to be in a runoff. I said, I'm going to win it outright and not a runoff. You know, everyone would love runoffs, but right now I think people need leaders that's going to go to Washington and represent them, not worry about runoff and campaigning all the time.
Let me ask you about one of the biggest policy issues looming over this race, and that is the economy. It's something that you've talked a lot about. You talked about it in the debate. You said people here in Georgia are hurting. President Biden just said inflation is going to get worse if Republicans are elected. What is your reaction, and what specifically will you do to lower prices?
Well, first of all, the reaction is inflation has gotten worse since they've been in office. Inflation has gotten worse since they've been in office, and they call it the Inflation Reduction Act. But do you see anything in it that reduce inflation? And what will I do first? You want to get our energy independence back. You know, we can't continue to go over and ask our enemy for oil. And people ask, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is we're some of the most effective oil drillers in the world today. But yet we're going to other places asking them who do more carbon into the air than we do, because it seemed like they waged war, President Biden and Senator Warner waged war on our domestic energy. But that's one of the first things I would do. But then the reckless spending, let's be honest, people say reckless spending. What do you mean by that? Well, let's just go to 87,000 IRS agents. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to go after people like your lower income. They're not going to go after the wealthy people. We know that. And I think the Committee on Taxation said that. They're going to go after people that are making less than $200,000 a year.
Well, and I hear you talk about energy independence. That really is a long-term solution. What are you going to do in the short term? What's the 100%. First
Wait. First of all, it's a long-term solution because they made it a long-term, because they waged war on it, and now it takes a while for them to get it back up again. Well, right now we got to stop the reckless spending. Why don't you cut taxes? You know, right now lower the taxes. You're raising taxes on everyone. So right now, taxpayers are paying for everything they're spending. Taxpayers are paying for it. You know, they act like they're doing something. No, they're taking money from the taxpayers. Like, what do you say? You know, and I think that's what's wrong right now. You know, bring some of the jobs back here. You got to get this economy jump started. Get some of the jobs. Get people back to working. Get people back to doing things. You know, when they started paying people to stay home, now people got comfortable at home.
So it's about lowering taxes for you.
Lowering taxes. You have to lower taxes. I don't know how you're going to think that you're going to raise taxes and you're going to lower the inflation. You don't do it that way. You got to lower how you don't. Raising taxes do not help the inflation. You got to lower taxes to help the inflation.
The criticism of lowering taxes is that it helps large corporations, the wealthy. How do you make sure, if you're in the U.S. Senate,
first of all, let's get this straight.
Targeted to people who really need relief?
When you start trying to say I'm going to raise taxes on the top, it's going to water down to the bottom. Because, you know, when people run a company, and I run a company, you raise the taxes on the company, they got to pass it down. I mean, it's going to go down because, you know, they're not going to eat all that. And I think they've used excuses and try to tell people, oh, the top corporation, they're making all the money, all the big profit. No, they're not. You know, they're trying, you know, right now I'm in the business world. And I said, right, when I'm trying to sell my product, I have to pay more for gas. And I can't eat all that, so I pass it along. I have to pay more for feed. I can't eat all that. I have to pass it along. I got to pay more for my employees. I can't eat all that. I have to pass it on. So the customer get hit with that. And I think that's what they're not telling you. It's a little bit more involved than them just making those words, and it's not working. Well, then that's what you see. Is it working? It's not working. They're doing it.
Let me ask you about the price of prescription drugs, another issue that came up during your debate. And for the cost of insulin in particular, you said during the debate that people who are worried about the high price of insulin should, quote, eat right. But people who are suffering, let me just ask the question, people who are suffering from type 1 diabetes have had this issue since they were kids. It has nothing to do with eating right.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Wait. You are wrong
issue?
here. You're wrong here. Let's get it straight. I said lower insulin ain't going to help. Let me tell you the reason why. My mom is on insulin. If you don't eat right, insulin not going to do anything for you.
No doubt
That's exactly what I said. You got to lower the price of food as well. Just saying on lower insulin doesn't do it. You got to lower insulin. You got to lower food costs as well. You got to lower gas. They got to go pick it up. And don't do things just because you want to get a vote, or don't say things that you don't understand. I understand this because I know people that's on insulin. They can take insulin, but if they're not eating right, it's even worse for them. And that's what I said. Just because you're doing insulin, lower the food costs as well.
So you stand by those statements
I do
about
stand
the
by those
importance
statements.
of eating.
You got to eat right. If you're taking insulin, you still got to eat the proper diet, or otherwise it's not going to do you any good.
Doctors say, depending on what kind of diabetes you have, it may be an issue that you have from birth, and therefore you would need
You still have to eat right. You still have to eat right. It doesn't matter. And I think that's one of the things you knew, because I have looked into it, and I have people that is on insulin, and they have had it from birth. Some of them do have it, but they still have to eat a right diet.
You have said you were opposed to the Inflation Reduction Act, which would lower the cost of insulin by $35 a month. What would you do, given that you're opposed to that, to lower those prices for insulin and other prescription drugs?
Well, the way you lower the prices, lower the inflation. Just what I was just saying. Lower all the costs of everything. That's where you lower the cost of medicine and make it a competitive market. Just saying I'm just going to lower insulin. You got to lower a lot of everything. Lower inflation itself. And the way you do that is well, let's just get to this Inflation Reduction Act. They were having a party. Inflation reduction, at the same time, the stock market was crashing. At the same time, inflation was still going up. They're having a party celebrating. So you're telling me right now inflation was reduced?
Well, the argument that people who supported the Inflation Reduction Act would say is that in the long run it will have an impact.
People not worrying about the long run, they're worried about right now. Mm-hmm. Right now, you're going to tell me right now, you think a mother that's starving to put food on the table worried about solar panels? Are they worried about solar panels right now? They're worried about electric car. They can't put food on their table. So they're worried about electric car right now.
If you were elected to the U.S. Senate, on this issue, what would the first bill be that you would sponsor to address the issue surrounding inflation in the economy?
Well, the first thing I said is we're going to get back to the energy. Get right back to the energy. Then we start off on anything else. Start off on trying to get jobs back here in the United States of America.
But to bring down the cost of medical prices?
They're going to start bringing down the cost of a lot of things. Once you get this inflation under control, see, that's what, and then when you lower the cost of this, who's paying for it? Who is paying for this? Taxpayers are paying for it. So you're taking out. So you're lowering the cost, but taxpayers are still paying for this. And that's what's so funny. I don't know how anyone cannot see that. So you lower one, you start on something else. And people don't want to acknowledge what I'm saying is legit. It started when he decided, when he first got into office, and, I'm going to wage war on the energy. Everything started then. And when he did that, inflation is up. And now, and people don't want to admit, they've only been in office for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Not quite 2 years. A 40-year high. 40-year high. 2 years. And not only that, we're in a national security problem as well. They're not just making a mess with this inflation. They're putting us in a national security problem.
Let me ask you about the big policy but also personal issue that is looming over this race for you, which is the issue of abortion. You were asked about this during the debate as well, and you said you support the Georgia heartbeat law, which does have some exceptions.
Yes.
Early on in the race, you said that you were opposed to any exceptions for an abortion. So why the change?
Well, it wasn't a change. I said I support life. Mm-hmm. Georgia is a state, respects life. I used to be a senator that protects life. And what I said then, I said I support life. I will always support life. But I said I also support what the people's voice is. The people's voice is the Georgia heartbeat bill, which has exceptions in it. Well, I'm a senator for the people. And I said, one of the problems we have, senators went to Washington and forgot about the people, put them there. They're supposed to represent the people, not themselves.
Early in this race, though, you had indicated you don't want any exceptions. The heartbeat bill does have exceptions.
I said, I'm for life. I never said I didn't have an exception. I said, I'm for life. And then I said, you know, the governor has a great bill. The heartbeat bill is a great bill. It has exceptions in it. You know, whether I agree with that, I'm for the people, what the people want. That's who you're supposed to represent.
It's not about you. Remember this. Early on in the race,
remember when you go to office, it's not your personal views. It's what the people want. And that's what they've forgotten about.
So to people who are watching and who may have concerns that your language might shift again around
my language didn't
shift.
No, my language never shift. I say I'm for life. I'm always for life.
You did initially say
no. I say I'm for life. I say I'm for life. See, I say I'm for life. But I also said I'm for what the people want. I represent the people of Georgia, and I said that. And I don't know why we want to argue about that. The Georgia heartbeat bill has exceptions in it, and that's what the people want. And I said I'll be what the people want.
So you won't shift your opinion from that.
No, if the people want that, that's what I want. But I'm for life. Right now, let's talk about the extreme point the Reverend is making. Or the senator's making. You can kill a baby all the way up to 9 months. And not only that, you can have an abortion. Even someone that survived an abortion, you're going to deny that baby medical care. That is real extreme. And then not only that, he
has argued on the debate stage not up to 9 months.
No, he said all the way up to 9 months. And he also said all of this stuff about the doctor and the this and the that. There's a baby in that room. He also said the government don't want to be in the room, but he bring the government back in to pay for the room. And then being a pastor, God owns the room. Think about it.
Let me ask you about this allegation by your ex-partner that you paid for her to have an abortion in 2009. You have said you know who she is. You also said you think she's lying. Have you reached out to her?
No, I never said I think she's lying. I said I know she's lying.
Okay. Have you reached out to her?
No, I didn't need to reach out to her because, first of all, that's what the left want to talk about. They want this seat so bad, they want to talk about everything else except the gas prices, except the grocery prices. They don't want to talk about what they're doing at the border. They don't want to talk about anything else. They want to talk about this. But I'm saying I've already dealt with that. That is a lie, not I. And I found out who she was at the last minute. And I said, well, that's a lie. And I moved on. My campaign moved on. And we're going forward.
Why not reach out to her? And
why should I? Why do I need to?
Okay.
Tell me why do I need to? To make all the news media happy? I'm running a campaign.
I do want to give you the opportunity to address some of the specifics of what she's saying. I have talked to her.
I don't need to address because that's a lie.
Well, okay. Let me give you a chance.
You're going to address something if somebody's going to lie.
I have spoken to her.
Yes.
She has provided NBC News with images of what she says are receipts.
Okay. Well, that's still a lie. It's images. Okay. Do you know it's real?
Okay. I just want to give you a chance. Here is one of those images. Roger. We're going to please. Take a moment. We're going to keep them private for privacy rights, but I do want to let you see them. This is the image of a check dated from 2009 with your name and your signature. So, do you recall sending her that check for $700?
This is still a lie because she's the mother of my child. So you're going to see me a check or somebody giving a check. So that I'm saying it's a lie.
This is before you had a child.
It doesn't matter. We were dating. We were dating. So that's what I'm saying. People you want me to answer something that's a lie, and everyone try to trick me or make me respond to something. Well, what I'm saying, let's admit this. Let's just say this. I've said it's a lie. Show where I have said that this is an abortion. Show where I have said that this is this.
No, you haven't. Do you know what this $700 check is for?
I have no idea what that can be for.
Is that your signature on the check, though?
Let me see. It could be. But it doesn't matter whether it's my signature or not. You know how many checks I've written to? Mm-hmm. Yes, that's my check. But how many checks have I written to? And she didn't have a job then. Yeah. Did she have a job at that time?
She gave us, I just want to give you the opportunity to answer these questions. She gave us the receipt. This is an image from the women's clinic where she says she got an abortion. This is 5 days before the check.
And you know what's so funny about that is wasn't she living in Kansas City or something at this time? She
said that this is where she
I'm saying, well, she living in Kansas City, though. So she flew from Kansas City to, I think Kansas City.
She said this is where she had.
Well, I'm just asking you now, so you getting all the facts. So was she living in Kansas City? She flew to Atlanta to do this? And see, that's what's so funny. Everyone want to show me all this. I've said it's a lie.
She does acknowledge that she was living in Kansas City, but she said this is where she was having the procedure.
Okay, wait, man. So I gave a check.
Well, but let me ask you about these,
wait.
What do you make of this?
I make of that it's a lie. And so we can keep talking about it. That's what you want to talk about. And I know that's what the people want to know. It's a lie. So I don't need to make anything because I have helped forever. So when they show me a check, and I never said anything about an abortion, I never said anything about anything, and they say this, that's just people talking.
Do you know what the $700 went toward?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. You know how many checks I've written in my lifetime for people? I've written checks for people that needed rent. I didn't even know. I've written checks for a lot of people I don't even know. I've always done that. And I would have done it for more than anything.
Why do you think the mother of one of your children would lie about this?
Why do I think? I have no idea, and I'm not worried about it, but I know it's a lie. And you want to talk about it, and I know everybody want to talk about it, but I don't need to because I've already addressed it. It's a lie. Prove that I did that. And just to show me things like that does nothing for me.
And for the people who have listened to her story, the fact that she has provided what she says are the receipts, why should people...
What is the receipt? No, that is not a receipt. And
Tell me...
Wait, is that a receipt?
I'm saying what she has said.
No, what are you saying? You're looking at it. That is not a receipt. That is not a receipt.
Of what she has said is a receipt.
That is not a receipt.
Answer this for me.
Yes.
Just so that
and
for
then
the voters.
We'll get off this
for the voters.
For the voters. Because we can get off this because you're
What?
assuming what someone has said is the truth. In the last...
I'm just asking you to respond.
In the last 2 years, nothing you've seen on television you take to the bank and says anything true. Because there's been such stuff out there now.
Why should voters believe you in this?
Voters should believe me because I've been very transparent about everything I've ever done. You know, I wrote a book about things I've done. I've not tried to hide not one thing I've ever done. I've been very transparent. But you guys have never looked at my opponent to see how transparent he's been. And I said, it ain't about what he done, what I've done. What it's about is, can you represent Georgia? And wait, let me finish. I can represent Georgia. He hasn't. He went to Washington and started representing Joe Biden, and he said it. People get mad when I say 96% of the time. I don't have to say that. I'll say that he voted on things that he knew would hurt Georgia. He didn't care. So that's what this is about. It's not about he said, she said, because that is a lie there, and I don't need to address it. I need to keep campaigning.
Let me ask you about your book.
Yes.
In which you do speak very openly about what you have described as challenges with mental health.
Yes.
Dissociative identity disorder. You say that you're no longer being treated for DID.
Yes.
Is this something you still struggle with?
No, I don't. And that's the reason that right now I've been redeemed. And I hope you believe in redemption. I believe that I have moved forward. And, you know, it is great that they want to, I'm going to say it like this. Everyone want to talk about a house I used to live in. I don't live there no more. I moved out. My life is now doing some incredible things.
And you said you're no longer being treated for it. When was the last time you were treated for DID?
I have no idea, but 15 years, see, I have no idea. Years ago.
Do you still, have you ever in recent memory experienced any of those symptoms? No. Okay. So it's not something that still affects you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I do want to ask you, by your own admission in your book,
yes,
you have talked about, because you struggled with some of these mental health challenges, that you did have moments where you felt you had violent tendencies.
Yes.
As you know, your son Christian has come out, Hershel Walker.
Yes.
He said, and I'll just quote for you, "You threatened to kill us and had us move over 6 times in 6 months, running from your violence." You have said you love your son Christian.
Right.
Just for the voters who want to hear an answer to the allegation about violence.
Okay,
Is that true?
I'm tell you,
what should people
voters,
know?
I would say I love my son Christian. I love my whole family. I'll always love them and stuff. That's what I say for my son Christian. And I don't have any violence. My wife and I, my ex-wife Cindy and I said it in the debate with Senator Warnock. I can promise you, my wife will support my campaign with his wife support his. And that's what's so funny. My wife and her husband, my wife and I, we're the best of friends. And so, and I say, I love Christian. And everyone would like to make this about my family. Let's make it about Senator Warnock's family. Let's go to his life. And I said, no, let's not do that. Let's just talk about his policies. His policy, let me just finish. His policies are not good for Georgia. They have hurt this economy. They've hurt Georgia people. Crime is up. This border is wide open. Fentanyl coming into this country. And you may not know this. 70% of the drugs coming from that border goes through Atlanta, Georgia.
And to the allegation of violence, though, it's not just Christian, it's an ex-wife, it's an ex-girlfriend. Can you help people understand? Because I've been
first of all,
seeing the ads that have been playing.
First of all, they've been playing ads because they figured
Yeah.
that's what they want to talk about. They want to talk about those things. They want to talk about something, that allegation. What I wrote about is in my book. I've been very open in my book. So anyone else outside of my book is lying to you. So I move on with my campaign to win this election for the great people of Georgia.
And to the very serious allegations, though, of violence against your family members.
Oh, well, I love Christian, and that's what it is. My ex-wife and I, Christian is my son. I love him to death. I always love him. He know I love him. And I always been with him and stuff, and I always love him.
Have there ever been any violent episodes toward family
Well, see,
members?
you keep talking about it. Everything is in my book. I'm not trying to promote books, so forgive me for that. I'm not trying to promote books, but it is a great book, one of the best reads you can ever have. I tell people to go out and get my book.
Not some of these specific allegations that have been running on the airwaves here. That people are
So
seeing.
that's what I'm saying. Go get the book. Read my book. I've said anything in a book that was written, 14, 15 years ago? Written 15 years ago.
Okay.
Yes, that was written 15 years ago. Today, I'm running for the United States Senate. And within a month, I'm going to win the United States Senate for the great people of Georgia.
What should people finally just know
About me?
about mental health struggles?
Well, I want everyone out there to know, Hershel Walker will always be a champion for mental health. And I also want to tell you, you can get help. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. You can get help if you seek. You can get help and admit you have a problem. Go see anyone that can help you, and you can overcome it. You can overcome it. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of work, but as long as you're willing to work, you can overcome it. And I always know that I'm going to be a champion for you.
I want to ask you about some of the other big policy issues that you've been talking about as a candidate. Let's start with more domestic policy. On the issue of crime, you were asked about this during the debate. This has been one of the centerpieces of your campaign. And I wonder, if you're elected into the U.S. Senate, what is the first bill you would sponsor to address crime in America and the people here in Georgia in particular?
Well, the first bill you would want to sponsor, it's got to be something dealing with supporting our men and women in blue. And then, however we write, whatever we have to do is bring some type of unity between the community and our men and women in blue, because right now, that's the problem. We've now demonized our law enforcement, where the morale is down, recruitment is down. So, whatever we can do to try to bring some type of unity between the two is a big thing.
So what does that look like? Is that more funding? What would you do?
I have no idea what it's going to look like.
Safer streets across this country.
Like I say, get behind our men and women in blue. What it's going to look like, who knows? But we have to get something back where we have law and order. We have to get something back where we have some unity, because criminals not afraid of our police anymore. And then when you have no cash bail, not holding people accountable, no cash bail, nobody held accountable, then you want to empty prisons. You're making us prisoners in our own home. Who is going to be running free? Prisoners. Everybody else is going to be locked up in their home. I know those things I would not do.
Let me ask you about some of the things that have been in the headlines recently as it relates to crime. Chokeholds have been discussed quite a lot. Yeah. Do you support them, or should they be banned?
Well,
what do you think?
That's what's so funny. We talk about chokehold. It is amazing. You bring up chokehold, but you don't bring up police in the last couple of since last year, and more police officers been killed. You talk chokehold. Should they be banned?
Well, we can talk about all of it. Let's start with chokeholds.
Let's start with chokehold. So funny. That may be a better way you can do certain things. That may, I'm in martial arts. That may be a better way you can do certain things. But it's not just police officers killing. There's officers being killed right now.
So let's talk about that.
If we're going to address all, let's address it all.
Let's start with chokeholds.
There's certain ways you can do things that'll be better.
Should they be banned? Chokeholds.
Certain chokeholds that may probably need to be banned.
Okay.
They probably need to be banned. But now let's talk about, should they have the disrespect for officer that they shoot officer, ambush officer? What should we do about it?
What you tell me?
No, you tell me, because that's what I'm saying.
You're running for Senate.
We
what
have
would you
to,
do
we
as
have
a
to
U.S.
hold
Senator?
people accountable. We
So
got to let them out of jail.
To make police officers feel safer.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to hold people accountable. We now got to have the respect back for officers. Everybody want to go home safe. But because of people we have in Washington that now have disrespected our law enforcement, We have a senator that called them names. Let's wait. We have a senator that have called them names. He's a leader. And what he's going to do, if sort of like a mom in your house, you have a daughter. If you show disrespect towards someone else, your daughter going to do the same. Well, he's a leader. If he do the disrespect, what do you think the citizen going to do?
And so what would you, when you think about what legislation you might sponsor, would it include a provision that would address this issue of police officers feeling?
Well, it's going to include a provision that's going to include some type of relationship. You know, they
community policing.
Well, what do community policing look like? You know, I talk about. I've been to over 400 bases all over the United States, and I said it's amazing to me. A lot of the officers that military police know the person that they're around, so they understand those people. And I said, you know, we're putting officers, in communities that they may not know the community. Maybe let's start training officers to get out of those communities, go into these inner community cities and try to recruit within those places, recruit people from those communities into the law enforcement. Because right now, this is the toughest time to be a policeman today. This is a very tough time when you don't have the support of the citizen.
What about no knock warrants? Is that something
we go back
that
to
you
the police.
would?
Police are not the problem. We keep wanting to blame police. This is a country that we have laws.
This is one of the things that's debated as part of the broader criminal justice reform.
We want to keep talking about that. Well, let's talk about the people. We want to keep looking out. The police is the problem. Police is not the problem. I think we need to get that wrong. Police have their problem just like any other police. Just like any other place, they have their problem. But let's first get down to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is leaders in Washington have shown the disrespect for the police, so now recruitment is down. Now their morale is down, and that is a problem. So I said what we have to get back to is get this unity back together, get leaders that want to bring people together, not separate.
And the reason I ask you about this is because these are some of the key things that have been debated as a part of the
because they keep debating over the wrong thing.
Reform legislation that has been debated in Washington for quite some time.
But they
if
never
you're
get
in
nothing
this
done.
U.S. Senate and someone asked you, would you support no knock warrants? Yes or no? Are you opposed? Would you vote for something that?
See, I love to look at it. See, that's the problem. I love to look at it. I want to support anything that's going to keep everyone safe, citizen and police. Citizen and police safe, because I said we can't blame police, and that's what people keep doing.
Let's talk about that moment at the debate where you flashed the badge. I don't know if you have the badge with you, but a lot of people are wondering, what was that badge? Do you have
that is a legit badge?
What
because,
is it?
That's a badge that I was given by a police officer, and I do have the badge.
You have it.
I carry it with me all the time. It's a real badge. It's not a fake badge. It is a real badge.
Who gave you the badge?
This badge is from this badge. Now I have badges all over Georgia, even from Chatham County. I have it from Chatham County, which is the county,
so we can see it.
which is the county from. I have it upside down. Make sure it's right. Which is the county from where Senator Warnock is from. I have an honorary sheriff badge from that county.
And where's this one from?
This is from my hometown. This is from Johnson County, from the sheriff of Johnson County, which is a legit badge. Everyone can make fun, but this badge gives me the right. Let me finish. If anything happened in this county, I have the right to work with the police and getting things done. People don't know that I've been working with law enforcement for years. I do training programs, but they get credit for it. I do program of leadership programs. I do health and wellness programs. I visit prisons. So everyone want to make fun, but I've had my men and women in black, men and women in blue backs since I've been doing this.
Does that have arresting authority, or it's an honorary badge?
It is an honorary badge, but they can call me whenever they want me, and I have the authority to do things for them, to work with them on things.
The National Sheriff's Association said an honorary badge, quote, is for the trophy case. Why make the decision to flash it at the debate?
That is totally not true. You can call the guy that gave me the badge, and that's what's so funny. Call the one who gave me the badge. And the same thing is, I'll tell you one thing that happened funny. They said I wasn't working with the Cobb County Police, right? The Cobb County Sheriff Police. And this is the way people do news media. And I had the sheriff that gave me the badge. Been there for years. Came out and did a press conference with me and said, Herschel been with us for years. He's been working with us. Let me just finish. Been working up with us for years. And after he finished talking, the reporter that was down front, first question he asked is, why do you lie from working with this Cobb County sheriff? And it's like, guys, y'all not even listening to anything. You want to try to find an excuse. No, I will always have my men and women in black, blue. That's the reason they support me. I have more sheriffs have supported Hershel Walker, more sheriffs that have supported Hershel Walker in Georgia than any candidate running today.
And you and I were talking about this a little bit. As you know, some people have criticized you for embellishing
Yes.
your connection to law enforcement.
Well, now you know I haven't embellished.
Do you worry though that
embellished.
flashing a badge feeds that narrative that you're embellishing?
No, it didn't
your
embellish. I
resume?
never embellished. I work with law enforcement. See, now you're trying to say they're right. No, I'm right.
Nope,
I'm right
just
because
asking.
I have worked with law enforcement, and I've been working with law enforcement. I did it before I decided to run for office. This had nothing to do with me running for office. So when people say that, they're talking.
You're saying you've worked with law enforcement, but you were not a member
I never said
of law
I never said I
enforcement.
was a member of law enforcement. I said I worked with our men and women in blue. Same as I worked with the Cobb County. I never said I was a member. I said I worked with the Cobb County Police, and I have.
To voters who have questions about truthfulness,
Yes.
can voters trust you to be truthful?
Well, I've been truthful. I can vote or trust Senator Warnock to be truthful. Remember, he said he was going to Washington to represent us. He represented Joe Biden. He said he was going to Washington to cut our taxes. Listen to him. He raised our taxes. He told us he was going to Washington to, speak for women. He put men in women's sports. So when you start talking about lying, he's the one lying. I have been honest about what I've said.
I want to delve into some politics now. You said at the debate that Joe Biden did win in 2020. Former President Trump has said the election was, quote, rigged and stolen. Is Mr. Trump wrong?
Well, just what I just said. I said Joe Biden won and Raphael Warnock won. That's the reason I decided to run. Doesn't matter what Trump said. Joe Biden and Raphael Warnock is in office. That's the reason I needed to run, because their policies for the United States, their policies for Georgia is hurting people. People can't eat. Gas prices are up. Grocery prices are up. Everything is up. Crime is up. This border's wide open. They wage war on our domestic energies. They put men and women's sports. They bring wokeness in our schools, wokeness in our military. So we are at a crisis right now. So that's the reason I decided to run.
On that claim, though, by former President Trump, he says the election was rigged and stolen.
You're going back to President Trump. President Trump not running.
Do you
Walker's
disagree
running.
with that
no,
statement?
Hershel Walker's running. President Trump not running.
Not going to weigh in on the statement?
No, it got nothing to do with me weighing in. President Trump is not running. President Trump is he's in Florida. Who's in office right now is President Biden, Senator Warnock. And their policy is hurting this country. A 40-year high, border wide open, more people coming through the border than ever. And then this inflation. Oh wow, that's the problem. And if people want to try to pretend it doesn't exist, they're living in Alice in Wonderland.
Take Trump out of it for a second.
Yes.
Do you think the election was rigged? Or do you think
I have no idea, and I don't care. What I care about is this election coming up in November. That me winning this seat for the great people of Georgia.
As you know, there have been these January 6th committee hearings. I'm going to ask you a little national politics now. Have you watched any of the hearings?
No.
Okay. They have subpoenaed former President Trump. Do you think he should testify out of transparency's sake?
I'm going to go into something. I'm not a lawyer. I watch a lot of Judge Judy, though, but I'm not a lawyer. First of all, I do believe in due process. And being a man of color, I believe that the justice should be blind. I also believe that no hand should be on the scale. Right now, they've decided this January 6th before they even started it. So you ask me a question of a man that should be believing in justice. Where's the justice here when on the one side it's a movie that they playing their part? And I said, right now I'm gonna worry about winning this seat back so people can feel safe. People can feel that they can be treated fair. Not worry about these movies and this or that. I'm out here fighting for the people of Georgia, and they know that I'll be their champion. I said it like this. People say that I scored for Georgia once, I score again for them. They know that.
You and people who've campaigned with you, and you've done it throughout this interview, tried to paint Raphael Warnock as a lapdog of Joe Biden. You've talked about his voting record.
Well, you
being
tell
so
me at
consistent with him.
96% of the time, you tell me what is he?
Well, let me ask you this question,
Yes.
because if you are elected
Yes.
to the U.S. Senate, you are going to have to work with President Biden and
Yes.
Democrats in order to get anything done.
That's right.
So let me ask you, can you name one thing that President Biden has done that you support?
One thing that he's done that I support. He eat a lot of ice cream.
Is there anything policy-wise?
Policy-wise that he's done that I support. You want to run down his policy? Because he's been doing a lot of things since he's been there. Executive orders, just like signing that student bill that I think was terrible.
The student loan relief
Yes, that
bill
was terrible.
that you have said you disagree with.
I disagree with it, and most Georgians disagree with it as well. That's why I said it's amazing. But anyway, one thing that I would agree with that he's done.
Any common ground you think you could find with Democrats?
That's what's so funny. I'm willing to work across the aisle with any of them. I work with anyone for the people of Georgia, that anyone that's want to help. But can you name a bill that's going to help? Now, I'm not putting you on the spot, but give me something that within the Inflation Reduction that's going to help without taking money from their pocket and stuff that they're paying for.
Let me go back to the original question,
okay.
though. What's the
Well,
one?
see,
Is there one thing?
That's what I'm saying. I may have to. It got to
President
a while for me
Biden
to
has
think.
done that.
I may have to think about it. That's what I'm saying. And I'm sorry to tell you this. I may have to think about it because it seems like since he got into office, everything has gone down the drain.
Take a minute and think about it.
Oh,
Is there
geez.
one thing?
Okay, let me think about it. One thing that he's put in that I will agree with.
That you would agree with?
It's going to be a while. Well, I agree with one thing, but he didn't do it. When he said he'll be a unifier, we saw that he wasn't that. He called the opposite side name. So that's what I'm saying. It's hard for me to think what he's done.
You've said you want to be a unifier.
And I will be a unifier.
How do you do that, and where is the common ground? Can you give us a policy area where you think, you know what, I can reach across the aisle and work with Democrats?
It's not a policy area. It's a unifier. It's someone that's going to bring people together. First of all, we got to get out of this racism. Quit calling people names, black, whites, and stand up for what is truth. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. Like I said, not put you on the spot, but what do you think of the guy on MSNBC calling me the N-word? Is that an open season now that we can now go on television, like on your station, and call people the N-word? Do you think that's okay? I know. I'm putting you on the spot.
Have you
I'm putting you on the spot.
No.
See, I know. See, that's what I'm saying. You can't answer that question. But I said the problem we have is nobody want to stand up for right. I say I don't think it's right. I'll talk to them. So I'm willing to cross the aisle to talk to anyone if it's going to help people in the United States of America. Don't care what color you are. I'm for the people. Black, white, yellow, brown, green. It doesn't matter. And I make fun. I said, if you were a Martian and you lived in the state of Georgia, you have your resident here, I'm going to represent you.
Part of the frustration that people have, and when they think about unity, is they feel like there's so much fighting in Washington, and they want to see people get stuff done.
You're right.
So I hear you on the messaging, but what can you get done? Where are you going to reach across the aisle?
I'm going to quit fighting. You know what's so funny? They're the one fighting. I'm not there yet, am I? I'm not there yet.
Well, tell me what it looks like. Day one.
Day one. I'm going to talk about unity. I'm going to talk about unity. I'm going to talk about things of the common ground. Talk about things that is for the people of the United States, that are for the people of Georgia. But let's be honest. What are they talking about? What are they talking about that is for the people, except putting the people in harm's way? We started talking about inflation reduction, and I'm telling you, the stock market was crashing. Nobody want to acknowledge that. And talk about recession, that, that's not a recession, and yet it is.
I understand all the areas where you disagree, but
well,
is there an area where you think you can work with them?
But is it not true?
But
no. Is it not true? Is it not true? We got to get to the truth and see what we're doing here is you and I are debating whether I'm saying, is it not true?
I
is not true.
I think.
And I said, I'm willing to work with anyone that is willing to help stop crime for Georgians, to help stop crime for the United States, that want to work on helping to close the border, securing that border. You want me to tell you how you can get that done? I know how you can get that done because I went down to the border. I've been talking to the people about how you get things done.
Where do you start on all these issues? Inflation, crime, the border. What's your first issue?
Like
your
I
first
said,
day in office. What are we going to hear from
the first day in
from
first day in office, I want to do is get our domestic energy back, because I think it's putting us in a national security problem. And that's national security problem. Because right now, when they have went into our reserves, he's used more reserves than any president combined. And then he's tried to trick the people like, oh, I'm doing this. No, what he wants, this is midterm. He needs your vote. But after the voting is over, he's going to see gas prices go back up.
You talked about national security. Let's delve into it.
Yes.
Let's delve into foreign policy as well. As you know, the war in Ukraine is probably one of the biggest foreign
Yes.
policy crises facing the president and facing Congress right
Yes.
now, facing this country.
Right.
How do you see Ukraine's security as it relates to the U.S.
Okay,
security?
the way I see the security is Ukraine, Putin is a bully. We've always known he's been a bully. And what do bullies do? They find you when you're weak. So what did he do? He saw Joe Biden being weak in Afghanistan. When he pulled out and left our allies there, wait, let me finish. He pulled out and left our allies there. He pulled out and let 13 U.S. servicemen die. And he just left, and everybody left, and all of a sudden, nobody held him accountable. And Putin said, look, he saw, hey, that's weakness there. And don't think anyone else on the national stage not looking at it. What I started doing is working on our military, building our military back up. Not talking about wokeness, not talking about pronouns, not talking about this. Get our military back up strong. Because remember the great line, there's peace through strength. Strength is our United States military.
Would you, if you were a U.S. Senator, approve sending U.S. troops into Ukraine if you felt it was necessary?
I never want to put boots on the ground.
Okay.
You know, why don't we become more proactive than reactive? You know, they was talking about Russia invading Ukraine. Why did we not become proactive? Now we're just sending money. But don't we need to take care of home too?
So what would, and you were asked this at the debate, let me take another try at it. What specifically should the U.S. do? How should the U.S. respond if Putin were to engage in a nuclear attack?
Well, if he engages in a nuclear attack, we got to respond with strength. We got to respond somehow. We just can't let him just do whatever. But wait, you're talking about a nuclear attack. Do you know what a nuclear attack would do? Not just to anyone, but a nuclear attack is something that is devastating.
What does the word strength mean to you? What does
Strength
that look
is
like?
building our military up that they can recognize that if we had a strong military, our military was before they got into office, I don't know if Putin would have even invaded Ukraine.
Do you think?
And I think because of the weakness of Afghanistan, we had 13 servicemen were killed. Wait, what are their family thinking? No. What are they thinking? We had them killed. No one has said anything. No one has done anything. Nobody held Biden accountable for it.
When you say strength, do you mean with a nuclear attack?
No.
With attacking Russian
I'm talking
targets
making
in
our
Ukraine?
military strong, supporting our military strong.
Would you support attacking Russian targets in Ukraine?
No. What I'm saying, making our military strong again. You know, right now, getting them back up to their strength. Getting behind our military through, getting their weapons, getting their technology back up to strength where they need to be. And everyone knows what strength is. Got nothing to do with putting boots on the ground. It's showing strength in our international communities. And I said all leaders are watching us right now. And when America lead, this whole world does well. Right now, we're not the leaders, and we know that.
Let me ask you, have you thought through what committees you would want to sit on?
Well, one of the committees I know I want to sit on is the agriculture committee, anything dealing with agriculture, because right now that's a big industry here in Georgia. That's a huge industry here in Georgia, and right now that's they're suffering as well from the diesel fuel, from the fertilizer, they're suffering, and then anything dealing with our military, Veterans Affairs. I love it because I absolutely love our military. I wanted to be a Marine. I was little. That's what I always wanted to be.
Let me ask you about Mitch McConnell. If you become a U.S. Senator, obviously he is the minority leader right now. He has endorsed your campaign. On January 6th, he said, "There's no question President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events that day." Do you agree with that statement?
I got nothing to do with what I agree with. And it was funny, Mitch McConnell at first, he didn't want to endorse me until he realized I was the best man for the job. Remember, Mitch McConnell and Donald didn't get along too well. So that means that I am a unifier. They pick one guy, they pick me.
If you're elected, would you vote for him to be the Senate Majority Leader?
Well, I look at whoever's up, and right now he got my vote. One person I won't vote for is Chuck Schumer. I won't vote.
So he's
for
got
Chuck
your
Schumer.
vote. Mitch McConnell has your vote right now.
If he's one up, I don't know who's going to run or whatever. But if I had to vote right now, today, yes, but I don't know who's going to run right now, and that's why I said you want me to speculate. And that's one thing I would do is I'm not afraid to make decisions. And if you watch the debate, an incumbent senator sit on stage was afraid to answer a question. He wouldn't answer a question. He's the leader. I said, a leader take charge. So that tells you I'm ready to be a leader. Because I said, if I have to answer today, I don't know who's going to run.
But if he does run, it sounds like...
If I was a senator today and he ran, I'm going to vote for him today. I have no idea who's running.
Let me, if you would... Former President Trump tweeted something about Israel.
Yes.
It's a tweet that just came in. Because it's breaking, I would love to get your reaction if you're okay with that. And I think my producer has it for you. For both of our, both of us.
I need to put my glasses on. I probably need to put my glasses on.
You might need to for this one. This is a
you're
cell phone.
Making me look like people that say, he always wearing glasses. I just want to look like I'm
going to give you the cell phone. Alex, I think you have it pulled up. Alex, does she have it? Okay. Really, it's just the end part.
Just the end?
Jay, did you pull up the relevant portion?
I read in the world.
I'll let you read the whole thing, actually. You should. I'll let you read the whole thing.
More for Israel than I have done. Whatever surprise
he basically is saying American Israeli or the American Jewish community. I believe it's. Alex, what's the quote?
Is it? The highest approval rating.
Let me actually look.
Could easily be PMS. Yes, Jews have. It is too late. Okay.
Do you have any reaction to that?
No, not really. He just saying the U.S. Jewish community need to get their act together before it's too late. But right now, they're talking about, U.S. is talking about, we got Joe Biden and Raphael Warnock talking to Ukraine, on this thing now. Ukraine that shout death to America, death to Israel. Israel has been one of our closest allies for years, and they're talking about redoing the nuclear program with Ukraine, not Ukraine, but Iran they shout death to Israel, death to America, and Iran has been one of the most biggest terrorists out there. It's sort of like they don't know the definition of terrorists.
Do you worry about these comments and how they might land?
Well,
how they might.
No, I don't worry about that. What I want to worry about is, if I need to, if I'm a senator, I'm going to talk to him. What do you mean by this? What are you talking about? Because that was certain things he tweeted before. I was like, I didn't like it, but he tweeted it anyway. So, but I don't worry about a tweet. What I worry about is real stuff. What I worry about is what's happening, and that's what I see. What's happening? What's happening right now is sad. I worried about when they said defund the police. I knew that was a terrible idea, but no one stopped it.
Just finally, big picture, I wonder your perspective as you think about this potential new role. What does advise and consent mean to you?
Advise and consent mean to this administration of when I get into office.
If you were to be elected.
Is to look and study everything you get. Because I'm not sure if some people in office are looking at the whole picture. They may be taking part of the picture to look and study everything you get and to advise correctly for America, for your state. Because I think people are putting their own, as I said, ideals into it, rather than what's best for. I say it like this: ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. That's what it means.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I just like to say thank you for coming out, and I hope you can see in this interview that I don't dance and sing for anyone. It's my views. I'm running for this Senate seat because I have, like I said, I'm not a politician. Never claimed to be a politician. I told people when I got into this, I'm a warrior for God. And when I see something not right, I always stand up for it. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, because I do believe in the content of everyone's character. But right now, we got to get leaders that's not afraid to take tough positions, but you take the right position.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. I
Oh, you're
appreciate all the time you gave me. I think we got through everything.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So I appreciate it. Good.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.